Have you ever wondered why you keep attracting the wrong people into your life? No matter how hard you try, it seems like you're stuck in an endless cycle of disappointment, heartbreak, and frustration. Pause for dramatic effect, allowing the viewer to absorb the weight of the question. What if I told you that this isn't just bad luck, but something deeply rooted in your own mind? Something that you're doing, without even realizing it, that's causing this painful cycle. Let's face it, relationships are hard, and for some, they feel like an unending emotional roller coaster. Maybe you've had moments when you thought, I'm done trying. I'll never find someone who understands me. Or maybe you're trapped in toxic patterns, endlessly falling for the wrong person, time and time again, despite all your efforts to break free. You may have even started doubting yourself. Why does this keep happening to me? It's like no matter how much you try to change, something in you keeps repeating the same mistakes. That voice inside says, you're just not worthy of healthy love. But here's the truth. It's not about you being broken or unworthy. It's about understanding the hidden patterns that control your emotions, choices, and relationships. By the end of this video, you'll uncover something so powerful it could change the way you view yourself and your relationships forever. You'll finally understand why you keep attracting the wrong people, and how to break the cycle once and for all. But before we get there, let's take a deep dive into the hidden world of your attachment style, where these patterns are born. We're about to embark on a journey together. A journey that will take us through history, psychology, and philosophy to uncover the truth about the dark side of your attachment style. You'll learn how this unseen force influences your choices, your emotions, and your relationships. And once we understand this, we can begin to heal. The concept of attachment is much older than modern psychology. It dates back to the early 20th century when British psychologist John Bowlby began exploring the bond between infants and their caregivers. He discovered that the way a child forms emotional bonds has a profound impact on their future relationships. But it doesn't stop there. Ancient philosophies also recognized the importance of emotional bonds. In Greek philosophy, the notion of philia referred to the deep, affectionate bonds that people share with others, bonds that could either nurture or trap them, depending on the emotional health of the individual. In fact, attachment has been a central theme in human behavior for centuries. The way we relate to others is rooted in our earliest experiences, and these experiences are shaped by cultural and historical contexts. How we bond, love, and connect has always been influenced by the world around us. Carl Jung, one of the most influential psychologists, believed that our unconscious mind holds deep emotional patterns that shape how we interact with others. He called these unconscious patterns archetypes, which are powerful forces that guide our behaviors, often without us being aware of them. Jung saw attachment as an archetype that could either lead us toward healing or toward a distorted form of attachment. His work with the shadow, those parts of ourselves we suppress, was a way of understanding how unhealed wounds in our emotional life could manifest as unhealthy attachment patterns. Nietzsche also touched on the concept of attachment, though from a different angle. He saw our relationships with others as a mirror for understanding our own internal struggle. If we are trapped in unhealthy bonds, it reflects a lack of self-overcoming, a failure to confront our deeper emotional wounds and transcend them. These philosophical and psychological ideas aren't just academic, they have profound real-world implications. People throughout history have struggled with attachment-related issues, whether through toxic relationships, dysfunctional family dynamics, or societal pressures that shape the way we love. For instance, consider the story of Cleopatra. Her relationships were complex, fraught with both power and passion. But at the heart of her attachments was a deep emotional need that influenced her decisions, an attachment style formed in her childhood, perhaps rooted in the politics and pressures of her royal family. In the end, her emotional vulnerabilities played a significant role in her life's tragic outcome. Now, let's fast forward to the present day. How many of us can relate to these ancient struggles? The way our attachment styles have shaped our relationships, often without us knowing it, can be just as profound as those of historical figures. John Bowlby's work laid the foundation for understanding how attachment styles form in childhood and how they shape our future relationships. His theory divides attachment into four main styles: secure, anxious, avoidant, and disorganized. Each of these styles stems from different early life experiences and profoundly influences how we connect with others. Now, let's explore what happens when those attachment styles become distorted or misaligned. What happens when someone's early experiences lead them to become trapped in unhealthy patterns that keep them attracting the wrong people? Attachment theory explains that our emotional bonds in early childhood shape how we interact with others in adulthood. If you had a caregiver who was attentive and emotionally available, you likely developed a secure attachment style. You feel confident in your relationships and are able to trust others with your emotions. But for many, early attachment experiences were marked by inconsistency or neglect. If you had an emotionally unavailable or unpredictable caregiver, you may have developed an anxious attachment style. This leads to constant fear of abandonment and the need for reassurance from others, which can often attract emotionally distant partners. Alternatively, if you had caregivers who were distant or unresponsive, you may have developed an avoidant attachment style, where you tend to push people away to protect yourself from potential hurt. This can lead to choosing partners who are distant or unable to connect emotionally, reinforcing your belief that intimacy is unsafe. Finally, the disorganized attachment style is marked by a chaotic mix of anxious and avoidant tendencies. These individuals often attract partners who mirror their unpredictable and conflicted emotional patterns. Attachment is more than just a pattern of behavior, it's a reflection of how we view ourselves and the world around us. If you're attracting the wrong people, it's because deep down, your attachment style is influencing your choices in ways you don't even realize. For example, if you're an anxious individual, you might be attracted to avoidant partners, thinking that their emotional distance will somehow make you feel validated. But in reality, this is a cycle that leads to heartbreak and emotional turmoil. Consider the story of Lisa, a woman who repeatedly found herself in relationships with emotionally unavailable men. Despite her best efforts to be loving and supportive, she couldn't shake the feeling that she was always chasing after someone who never fully committed. What she didn't realize was that her anxious attachment style was drawing her to avoidant partners, creating a never-ending emotional struggle. At the heart of these patterns is a deeply emotional struggle. Fear, shame, longing, and desire all play their part in how we attach to others. These emotions are not just psychological, they are visceral. When we're in an anxious attachment pattern, every text message or moment of silence can send us into a spiral of doubt, fear, and insecurity. Many people believe that attraction is purely about chemistry or mutual interests. But attachment theory reveals that much of our attraction is unconscious, guided by patterns formed in childhood. And these patterns are not always healthy. Let's take a moment to reflect on your own life. Think about your past relationships. What patterns have you noticed? Have you ever found yourself repeatedly drawn to a certain type of person, only to feel disappointed or unfulfilled? Or maybe you've been the one who pushed people away, fearing that closeness would lead to emotional pain. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, how has my attachment style shaped the way I relate to others? The reality is, our attachment style isn't just a psychological concept, it's a part of who we are. And until we fully recognize it, we'll continue to repeat the same emotional cycles, attracting people who mirror the wounds we haven't healed. The good news is that you don't have to stay stuck. You can break free from these unhealthy attachment patterns and start attracting the right people into your life. Here's how. Acknowledge your attachment style. The first step in healing is awareness. Do you identify with the anxious, avoidant, or disorganized attachment style? Maybe you're a mix of these styles. Whatever it is, recognize it as a starting point for growth. This awareness alone can start to shift your emotional and behavioral patterns. Embrace self-love. Healthy relationships begin with a healthy relationship with yourself. If you're constantly seeking validation from others, start by validating yourself. Practice self-compassion and give yourself the emotional nurturing you might not have received in childhood. Set boundaries. Healthy boundaries are crucial in all relationships. If you tend to get enmeshed with others or lose yourself in relationships, learn to establish clear boundaries. Respect your needs and desires, and don't compromise them for the sake of approval or affection. Practice emotional regulation. If you're anxious and prone to emotional outbursts, practice grounding techniques. Mindfulness, deep breathing, or journaling can help you stay calm and centered, reducing the intensity of emotional reactions. If you tend to shut down emotionally, as avoidants do, allow yourself to feel. Journaling, art, or talking to a trusted friend can help you reconnect with your emotions. Therapy and support. If your attachment wounds run deep, seeking therapy can be an essential part of healing. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, dialectical behavior therapy, DBT, or somatic experiencing are just a few techniques that can help you unravel your attachment issues and create healthier patterns. Rewire your brain. This may sound complex, but with time and effort, it's entirely possible to rewire your attachment patterns. The brain is neuroplastic, meaning it can change with new experiences. By practicing new behaviors and making conscious choices, you can shift the way you connect with others. Here are a few psychological tools that can support your healing journey. Mindfulness meditation. This practice helps you stay present in the moment, reducing the intensity of anxious thoughts and emotional reactions. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. CBT is highly effective for breaking destructive thinking patterns that contribute to unhealthy attachment. Through CBT, you can learn to recognize negative thoughts and replace them with healthier ones. Journaling prompts. Write about your past relationships and explore your emotional triggers. Ask yourself, what patterns do I see repeating? What am I afraid of? What would a healthy relationship look like for me? Healing isn't a linear process, and there will be setbacks along the way. But remember, change is possible. You have the power to rewrite your emotional script and create the kind of love you deserve. You are not broken. You are not doomed to repeat the past. You can heal and attract the right people into your life, people who will love you for who you truly are. Be patient with yourself, and take it one step at a time. Every small victory is a step toward a better future. Let me share with you the story of Sarah. Sarah was an incredibly kind and empathetic woman, but she constantly found herself in toxic, one-sided relationships. Her pattern was always the same. She'd meet someone who seemed perfect at first, only to discover that they were emotionally distant, unavailable, or manipulative. Sarah couldn't understand why this kept happening. She was doing everything right, being caring, loving, and supportive, but it seemed like no matter how much she gave, it was never enough. She felt rejected and worthless after each breakup. It wasn't until Sarah started exploring attachment theory that the pieces began to fall into place. She realized that her anxious attachment style was driving her to attract emotionally avoidant partners. These men couldn't meet her emotional needs, and instead of creating a healthy bond, she ended up chasing after their love and approval. Through therapy, Sarah began to heal. She learned to set boundaries, regulate her emotions, and practice self-love. Slowly but surely, she started attracting partners who were emotionally available and willing to connect with her on a deeper level. Sarah's story isn't unique. There are countless individuals who find themselves repeating unhealthy relational patterns, unaware that their attachment style is influencing every decision they make. These attachment patterns often form in childhood, shaped by the way our caregivers responded to our needs. When we don't recognize or heal these attachment wounds, we're doomed to repeat them in adulthood. But when we gain insight and take steps to heal, we can break free and create healthier, more fulfilling relationships. Let's compare Sarah's story with that of Alex, someone with an avoidant attachment style. Alex had a history of pushing people away, avoiding intimacy, and withdrawing when things got too close. He never felt comfortable with emotional closeness, and as a result, his relationships always lacked depth. Unlike Sarah, Alex didn't feel the need to chase love. Instead, he distanced himself from others, fearing that getting too close would lead to loss of independence or emotional overwhelm. His pattern led him to attract partners who were overly demanding or clingy, reinforcing his need for emotional distance. But when Alex began working on his avoidance tendencies, learning to embrace vulnerability and create emotional connections, he started attracting more balanced relationships. This transformation didn't happen overnight, but with patience and effort, Alex found a partner who was willing to meet him halfway. Now, let's dive even deeper into the psychology and philosophy behind attachment. Attachment theory is just the beginning. To truly understand the forces at play, we need to consider the broader philosophical context. Freud's psychoanalytic theory, for example, explored how early childhood experiences shape our unconscious desires. In Freud's view, unresolved conflicts from childhood, particularly those involving our caregivers, can manifest in adult relationships. Our attachment patterns are often rooted in these unresolved emotional issues. From a Jungian perspective, our attachment style reflects not only our past but also the unconscious archetypes that guide our behaviors. For instance, the caregiver archetype may drive anxious individuals to seek out nurturing relationships, while the warrior archetype may prompt avoidant individuals to resist vulnerability and emotional intimacy. But there's something deeper at play here. What many don't realize is that our attachment wounds can create a shadow self, the parts of us we reject or hide from others. Our attachment issues are often tied to unexpressed emotions, unmet needs, and hidden fears that we've buried deep inside. These hidden dynamics influence every relationship we enter, often without our conscious awareness. Understanding these theories isn't just about intellectual curiosity, it's about applying them to real life. If you know your attachment style, you can begin to make intentional choices to change your relational patterns. You don't have to remain trapped in unhealthy cycles. For example, if you recognize that your anxious attachment style is leading you to chase after emotionally unavailable partners, you can start choosing to spend time with emotionally available people. You can create boundaries and practice self-soothing techniques to calm your anxiety rather than relying on others for validation. These small, practical changes can have a massive impact on your emotional health and the types of relationships you attract. To sum it up, your attachment style isn't just a label, it's a deep-seated force that shapes your relationships, your emotional world, and your life choices. But by becoming aware of your attachment style and taking steps to heal, you can break free from toxic patterns and create the healthy relationships you deserve. You don't have to keep attracting the wrong people. You can attract the right people by healing the wounds that are driving your unconscious choices. If this video resonated with you, share your thoughts in the comments below. What attachment style do you think you have? Have you noticed any patterns in your own relationships that relate to attachment theory? Share your experiences, we'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more content on emotional growth and self-improvement. Together, we can uncover the hidden forces shaping our lives and create positive change. Before you go, I want to leave you with this thought: healing is a journey, not a destination. Every step you take toward understanding yourself is a step toward breaking free from the past and building a future filled with love, trust, and emotional fulfillment. You are worthy of healthy, balanced relationships. Don't settle for anything less.